Hello and welcome. If you're looking for a interesting way to add a new look to your embossing folders, then this technique video is for you. Welcome to Techniques in 10. Every Technique in 10 video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using today and join along. You can create right along with me, pausing when you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. This is a beautiful technique that will yield some amazing results. All you need are some embossing folders, and I have two different styles of 3D embossing folders here. And then your plates for your die cut machine and some wood sheets. Now I have two different kinds of wood sheets. This one is a very, very thin birch sheet with white paper on the back side. And this is a piece of cedar lining that goes into a cigar box. And it's slightly thicker, but it's just wood. It has no paper lining on it. Both of these will work. So the first thing that I need to do is get my wood sheet wet. So I'm going to be using the paper lined sheet for this. And I'll grab my distress sprayer and spray this down with some water. Now I want this to soak in so that the wood fibers can mold around the embossing folder that I'm going to use. And for this one, I'm going to use this 3D embossing folder by Sizzix. Now this is a little bit thicker, and I've had to experiment with the sandwich for my Gemini. So that's just a note for you. You'll have to experiment as well to get a proper sandwich for your embossing folder. So as you can see here, the paper really likes to curl. So you just need to hold it a little bit here while you're bringing the top down on your folder. And then once you have it closed, make sure that you don't open it up again. So there we go. It is in the folder. Good. And I do have a larger piece than what I'll probably end up using because a lot of times the ends get a little out of square because of the depth of an embossing folder like this. So cut a piece larger than what you'll need, and then you can cut it down later. So for my sandwich here, I'm actually using a Sizzix plate and then the plastic plate from the Gemini Junior. Because this particular embossing folder is so thick, this is what goes through my Gemini machine. So I'll go ahead and run this through. Space here. All right. And now that that is through, you're going to see a beautiful embossed piece. It is really, really beautiful. Came through the back. It looks excellent. And now all I have to do is apply a little bit of heat to this to dry it. Especially because it will want to continue to curl. If it really curls up, just hold it out and apply some heat until it flattens out. So as you can see, that does not take long. If you end up with a little bit of cracking of your wood, you can either choose to work around it or to cover it up with another element or cut it out. So really that's just some of the beauty of working with the wood, is that you see a little bit of the distressing along the way if you happen to end up with a little bit of cracking from your project. All right, so that's the first one. If you're going to be using a little bit of a thicker piece, this, like I said, is from a cigar box. I need to prep this just a little bit more so so it really can stretch around the embossing folder. So for this one, I'm going to get it wet, really, really wet on one side, and then flip it over and let it kind of sit in that water. And then get it on the back side here. Again, you're just trying to get these fibers nice and moist so that they will stretch around the embossing folder. All right, so with this piece, I like to really wet it down. And then I'm going to sit here for about a minute and let the water soak in. So I will see you on the other side of a minute. All right, so it's been about a minute and a lot of the water has soaked into the paper, so I can clean up my space here. And now I can run this through my embossing folder. So it still has some water kind of sitting on top. That's okay. I'm going to throw it right into my embossing folder here. And as you can see, without the paper on the back, it really does stay in place. And I'm going to run this through. So for this embossing folder style, which is just slightly thinner than the Sizzix one, and these are from Alta New. This is the Sizzix plate, and then I'll put in my embossing sandwich and then another plate. This is the Gemini plate. So this ends up being a good sandwich for me for my machine. All right, so when this comes through, because this was really soaked down, you might end up with water that comes soaking out of your embossing folder. So you can just grab your excess there and clean up your plates. It's just water. It's no big deal. And then you've got your finished piece here. Again, as you can see, because it doesn't have the paper lining on the back, it really does stay nice and flat. I'm just going to hit this again with the heat tool. So now I have two beautiful pieces of embossed wood sheet that I can add to any number of things. I could use this as the base of a canvas for a mixed media piece. I could die cut a part of it. I can add other media to it to really bring out the design. It's really just another beautiful textured piece that you can add to any project. And here's a sample of something that you could make with this. This is a debossed hello. And I did the same technique. I added some paint on top of it and then sanded that paint around the edges of the letters here so that they would pop out. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at Nicole Watt Creates. I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.